Very exciting developments this week. I borrowed Tim the Builder's digger. He's nearly finished Sandra's new barn and he wasn't using it, so I had a go. And Will had a go, and between us we dug some holes, straightened a post, and levelled some ground. All this was in preparation for pouring a concrete slab for the log chomper to sit on. Pat Joe brought his ready mix lorry and Lee was our rake man. Thanks everyone.
How much was it? 200.
The holes are for these simple angle iron feet. They will later be the supports for the posts that will hold up the roof of this little shed. For now they just have to stand upright till the concrete goes off. That was very exciting, and the next day it all looked quite good. It even had the usual mysterious signature. Who could it be? Before I returned the digger, I carefully lifted this thing onto the concrete base. It's a wonderful old bandsaw frame. It weighs a lot though, so the digger was very handy. I actually had to look up on YouTube how to remove the bucket, because this is my first attempt at driving this sort of machine and I didn't want to screw up. I took it very easy because I didn't want to drop that cast iron frame, and no one was watching, so it went fine. But this video isn't about bandsaws or diggers or concrete, it's about the log chomper. This is the log chomper frame. Sandra and I took it up to its new home. It's beefed up a bit from the last time. Actually, I changed quite a bit from the last time you saw it. The biggest change is the reduction gearbox. I swapped the last one for a much bigger, heavier one. Aaron gave me this too. Thanks, Aaron. This new gearbox reduces the speed even more. 84 to 1, which means I don't think I need a chain and sprocket anymore. So there are fewer things to go wrong. And I bought this fancy new pulley for the input side of the gearbox. This is by far the most expensive part of this project. Now, don't look. I made a new plate for the front to hold the blades, but the only thing I had that fitted the shaft was an old sprocket, so I just welded them together. And I had to cut a new key too to stop it spinning on the shaft. And I cut new blades too, because the shape had to be different from the old ones. This time I'm using old Harrow discs, which should be made of higher quality steel. I know you might be thinking, why change things after all that work you put into the first version? I guess I was just trying to make it robust enough to withstand the forces involved. Not that I know exactly what those are, but because I'm basically trying to get a knife to cut through a log sideways using nothing but brute force, those forces have to be huge, surely. I bought the longest V-belt I could find, 4 meters long. I wanted to be able to tighten it and loosen it, so I made a clutch. It's just a roller that can be brought down onto the belt, and that system works really well for my chopping machine, so I'm repeating it here. Right then, time to start the engine. This is my lovely old Bamford single-cylinder stationary engine. It needs water for cooling and a drop of oil in all the right places. It doesn't use much diesel, but I wouldn't want to run out. And this is my electric start. It's just a motor that bears on one of the flywheels and spins the engine fast enough till it's ready to start. With a bit of coaxing, it usually gets there in the end, and when it does start, it's a joy to behold. Right then, engage the clutch. Blades go round and round. Brilliant. Disengage the clutch. Blades still go round and round. Not so good. This belt is so heavy there's enough friction to keep everything spinning, at least when there's no load on anything. So I moved the frame around and tried a few different tensions. I could stop it when the belt's slacker, but then it's too slack to drive the blades properly. Of course I had to try it out anyway. No problem, of course, with the smaller branches, but I was hoping for bigger than this. Watch what happens next. The blades jam, but the shaft keeps spinning, winding the blade plate off. Oh dear. The problem was the key worked its way back up the shaft until it was no longer in the keyway, so no wonder the plate could spin so freely. The next day, yesterday, Will came round and we made some improvements designed to keep the plate and the key in position on the shaft.
Yeah. Okay. See what happens then. Try again. Go on then.
We started modestly with small branches and everything was going quite well. But then the belt popped off the flat pulley.
Oh, blah. Blimey.
And we sorted that out and things went well again for a while.
Bumpy. Timing's nice. Yeah.
In fact, satisfyingly well. We were getting an inkling of how useful this machine could be when it works properly.
How big is that?
But then the whole clutch assembly gave up for some reason and the belt slipped off again.
Oh, you're so close! You're so close!
Yes, I could be using a flat belt, and it would work better on the flat pulley for sure, but to keep it on, I'd probably need a crowned pulley on the gearbox end. And that's not something you can just go and buy anymore. So then we set the belt up on the bigger engine pulley, and this was to give it more grip and so hopefully stop the slippage.
It's on the big pulley.
but the frame moved and so the belt slipped again. Cup of tea time. Some parts of it work, don't they?
Some parts of it do.
Frame's really good. So next we pulled the frame tight with ratchet straps. Surely this will keep the frame fixed and the tension on the belt, and nothing will slip, and the blades will slide cleanly through the logs. Surely. Bit of last minute fine tuning from Will.
Build up to that.
Okay, so this is a bit of willow, nice and green, variable thickness. Woo! Woo! Working well. No bother at all. And for a while, everything worked perfectly. And then what's happening? What's happened now? Oh man! No! Holy crap!
That looked like it was going to blow up at one point.
Holy shit. We've managed to mangle the entire gearbox.
The belt's got enough grip. There was like bulging in this plate. It looked like it was going to go.
But that used to be straight, didn't it?
Oh,
No.
I mean,
dear.
It's a bit sad, but it's also quite interesting and amusing. Look how it's like, deformed that out of round as well. It's really swaged it. Pretty cool.
It's totally mangled it. What happened was the blade was twisted enough somehow to slide outside its slot where it hit the frame and just couldn't go any further. So obviously then something else had to give. At first it was the engine. If you listen, it very, very nearly stalled. But then the keyway gave up and everything on the shaft was quickly mangled to bits. The engine recovered miraculously, and amazingly the belt didn't slip at all. So we don't need a flat belt. And in fact the gearbox itself is fine. It's not damaged at all. It really was just the keyway and the plate that are gone. And my nerves a little bit too, to be honest. Lots of lessons to learn here, but never fear. The log chomper will rise again, like a phoenix from the ashes, bigger and stronger than ever before.